Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aging and Spirituality podcast. We are both so happy to see you. I'm Kathy Lee Taylor,
And I'm Chris Jensen.
and we're both coming to you on the back end of a cold. So
Yeah.
forgive us for not being around for a couple of weeks now, which is so unlike us. We have been consistently recording every week, but this cold took us down. We had and we did not share. We were on other ends of the
Right,
city, and
right.
we
It's just
both got it.
mom.
She got it from her little grandson, and I got it from some lady that I was caretaking. And boy, we went down hard.
Yeah.
So there you go. Hopefully that is behind us now, and we are
Yes.
here today to bring you some joy, to feel some joy ourselves, to really get back on track, feeling like we are connected to spirit. And I wanted, because I was doing the lead on the presenting today, was to have a connection with a spiritual leader, somebody who really had a life that you could look at and be inspired by and learn from. So I picked Saint Teresa of Avila and started doing a little research and taking a look at what they call with her the art of inner renewal. She had, I think she even had a book that was called The Interior Castle or something like that, but I related it to aging and I wanted to like look at the history of this mystic, this Saint Teresa of Avila. There's so much we've learned about her, heard about her over the years from our yoga teacher. I've certainly read books about her, and there's things that maybe you do or you don't know, but let me just for grounding the idea of who she was, say a little bit about her history. And Chris is just going to pipe in every whatever she has and knows about Teresa and wants to say. She's going to just interrupt me wherever I am. Um, so we're going to step inside the life of Saint Teresa, who is really considered a mystic, and she was born in 1515.
Mm.
1515 in Spain. Then they hit you kind of different. Like now that we're older, you think like when you were 20 or 30 and you said 1515, you were like, that you can't even relate to the time period now, but the older you get and there's like those years behind you, you're like, oh, okay, that doesn't feel like so far away.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like so scary. Mhm.
So, or not so weird, like, okay, so she was 1515 in Spain. She was a woman of what they considered laughter and deep longing and astonishing courage. She was very courageous. She lived through great illnesses, spiritual droughts, yet she considered herself changed herself. Excuse me, still got some coughs in me. She's discovered inside herself um, what the inner life meant, what it meant to her. She was very much like us in the way that that self-discovery never ended, right? She was always on a uh, deep spiritual path, and the longing for her was very, very strong. Um, Her words, these are some words that she said. Uh, Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing make you afraid. All things are passing. God alone never changes. So we're going to look at what Teresa taught about aging in particular, actual on the spiritual journey, and how each season of our life draws us closer to the center of our soul. She's a great one for this lesson. So, in case I have to say it, she wasn't born a saint.
Yeah.
She was lively and charming and curious and the kind of girl who loved beautiful clothes and romantic stories. Sound familiar? Kind of like us, right?
Mhm.
Kind of like a regular old girl. In her 20s, she joined the Carmelite convent, unlike us.
Right. Right.
But even then, her heart was still restless. She struggled with prayer. She describes it in her book. Her mind wandered. Well, that's us. Her health broke down. She did have a lot of health concerns. And for years, she felt torn between worldly attachments and the deeper call of the soul. That sounds very familiar to
Right.
both of
Right.
us.
Right. Mm.
We still do that, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
It's part of the human journey.
Yeah.
It's part of the spiritual being in a human body. So we all recognize it as we age, that tension between the outer life we built and the inner life that keeps calling. There's always that certain amount of tension between the two. Teresa's turning point came during a long illness that left her paralyzed almost for 3 years. She began to realize that her suffering, the very thing she wanted to escape, was shaping her into someone who was more compassionate, more awake, more surrendered. And when I say those words, I have great deep compassion for her and loving in that way, but I get irritated. Do you? Chris is much more patient than me, so she probably doesn't. But I do feel a little irritated sometimes about the lessons that are really, really tough, like, being sick for 2 freaking weeks and not being able to breathe, or finding out your back is not what it used to be when you were 40 years old, and all those things. So annoying.
And part of
But
it, I think, is like, it's a humbling experience.
it is a humbling
And,
experience.
and we obviously need those lessons, to remind us.
Well, some of us do, but my friend Chris, she doesn't seem to have those same lessons along the way somehow. Like I don't never hear you whining about your body or any of that kind of stuff. So she's figured out something that I haven't, folks. I don't know about you, but anyway, aging is a very much a teacher for all of us, and as the body softens, the heart deepens. And what is left is really truth, which is what we all are learning. And what I love about Teresa is she never pretended that holiness was easy. When you read her stuff, you feel like this gal's just like me. She struggles just like I do on the path. She has the same kind of irritants and concerns, and it was not some easy breezy sailing thing for her. She had a tough, long spiritual journey. She went through long periods of spiritual dryness where prayer felt empty, where God seemed to be silent. She talks a lot about that in her books. She doubted her own visions and was even investigated by the church for mystical experiences.
Well, that's the thing, that she was persecuted for her
Yes,
spiritual experiences because they didn't
yeah,
understand it.
they did not understand her.
That's even harder than we have some of that to an extent, but not so much.
Yes, she had a lot more of it than we did for sure,
Much
right?
more,
But they,
much more.
the church finally had to accept that she had gifts that nobody really had seen or known about before, eventually by the end of her life. But that is a long journey to get there,
A
right?
long journey, a long, hard journey, because it makes you doubt yourself too.
The whole way.
You
Yeah. She probably didn't have somebody like you to turn to and go, "Is this what you've been through?"
know?
Right?
Yeah,
She
right.
didn't.
She didn't have
She,
anybody to talk to about it. She
she
didn't have a
only had
mentor. She didn't have a teacher.
she only had God's hand to
Which is, of course,
behold.
the greatest teacher.
And in those times when you're in the convent and you're crying in your pillow, like, what in the is going on here? You got nobody to pat you on the hand or the head and say, it's okay, you're going to be okay, you're going to get through this. That's what I mean. She was so courageous, came before us in very courageous, ways. I mean, she's people like her, spiritual aspirants like her that have left their mark and in their legacy and their books and their ideas and all of that. I feel like we are, standing on their shoulders.
Mhm,
And we learn so much from them.
mhm.
Anyway, she battled physical weakness, as I said, all of her life. And she once wrote, "Pain is never absent, and I have learned to make peace with it." Yikes. And I hear those words and I go, I don't want to make peace with it. Piss off.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't want that to be my way. But in that way, Teresa permits us to stop fighting what life brings us. She teaches us that the soul matures not through control, but through trust. It's something that am sure still learning. So when our knees ache and our back is not what we want it to be, and our energy dips, and when uncertainty visits us at night, we can remember her example. And this I'm not making a joke about, for sure. She was very courageous. that every limitation might also be an opening. And boy, if you can be in the middle of a stinking rotten cold and you can't breathe and your back hurts and everything that's going on, and you can lay there and still think, what what is opening to me? What am I, what do I need to know from this, you know?
Yeah.
You're doing okay.
Thank
If
you
you
for
get
teaching
there,
me, right? That's
yeah, you're doing
it's
okay.
amazing.
It is, yeah. I mean, Krish gets a cold and she just laughs it off like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I get annoyed. I still
Well,
get annoyed. So ask yourself, what if your aging body isn't betraying you, but inviting you deeper into your own interior life?
mm,
I wrote that line and I was like, okay, Kat, that one's for you. You're
mm,
going to sit with that one for the next whatever time that it takes you to figure
yeah,
that out, because I do feel like it has been really drawing me more in interior. Hmm. To look at it and to ask what is going on here. And I feel like I am going through another transition. As much as I love transformation and change, I also get tired sometimes, like especially when you're sick, right? Like just
yeah.
can
It's
we not
hard.
just I think Oprah said that one time. She said something like, Lord, don't ask me to do anything today. Like I don't want any change today, okay? Just leave me alone.
Well, it's true, and when you don't have the energy, it just it's that's really frustrating.
It is. It can be. It can be very challenging.
But that's when
So
you have to surrender. Yeah.
right. So I was right. The one of the books, actually, Teresa's masterpiece was called The Interior Castle. She
Mhm.
describes the soul as a vast crystal castle filled with light, with many rooms or many mansions. I think
Mhm.
that's where that other guy that wrote Many Mansions got that from her book. At the outer edges, the rooms are dim and noisy, where the soul is distracted by fear and pride and old habits. But as we journey inward, the rooms become brighter and quieter and more spacious. And that's how you can tell which one you're in. What room are you in? And in the very center of the castle dwells your source, your God, radiant, steady, loving. And if you can get there, nothing will shake
Yeah.
how you feel, who you are. It's always the goal.
Mhm.
Um, So aging in many ways draws us closer to that center, to the outer room's careers and roles and ambitions. They're starting to fall away, right? We
Mhm.
begin to live more simply and more truthfully as we age. And Teresa writes that in this inner journey, it's not about escaping the world, it's about finding God within the world, within the world,
Yeah,
within the law.
that's the key. Like the yogis, Sri Ramakrishna talks about the Leela, which is spirit moving through you and life becoming a dance, rather
Yes,
than
the
battle.
play, the play with life.
Mm,
That's such a good way to look at it. I love the Hindu idea of dancing with life
yeah.
because it can really help when you're going through the really, really tough stuff. You can
Mhm.
let go of the striving and trying to hold on and trying to fix and trying to control. And just imagine yourself dancing through whatever period of trouble or challenge or struggle, and just letting it go, just l- letting the energy move and be gone, change, for you. So it's about finding that world within, and it's within the world, finding God, like whether you're doing the laundry, uh, whether you're laughing or crying, whether the nights are really long or you sleep like an old goat. And the small acts of kindness, that's when you know when you can respond from really kind places genuinely and just without forethought, you're doing great. You're doing great. Your heart's in the right place. Mm. And one of the things she says that I love, she said the important thing is to not to think too much, but to love much.
Mm,
Not to think too much, but to love much.
yeah. When you
So
love,
maybe
it overrides all that stuff.
it overrides all the crazy nonsense. And, it's
Yep.
so easy to say, it's not that easy to do sometimes. I'm just acknowledging that for the people that think I'm saying we just do it all the time. It's a challenge for all of us.
Yes, it is.
We all have our moments. So maybe our later years, think about this. They're not about doing so much more. They're more about being present. And I know you've heard me say that before, but not about collecting experiences anymore, but about embodying love. So let's take just a moment right now. Close your eyes if it's safe for you to do. If you're not driving, of course, breathe in. And just say to yourself, I am here. Breathe out and say, I am safe. I am here. I am safe. Now imagine your own soul as a castle filled with light. Where are you standing today? Near the busy gates or in one of the inner rooms? Can you sense that quiet center waiting just for you? Okay, come back. Hmm. I won't do that for a long time just because we're in a word environment. But if you're at home, do that for as long as you want. If I let Chris, she'd go forever. So
It's very pleasant.
she was going off. So I'll bring her back. So if you're doing that at home, just feel free to go in there, explore your inner rooms, and just enjoy that quiet center that is
Yeah.
literally waiting for you to pay attention to it. So as Teresa grew older, she became less concerned with visions and more focused on love because she did talk a lot about visions when she was younger, and we all have those periods of, being so interested in who we are in our journey and those are conversations we've had a lot of, but for her, in the end, it was all about love. Her body started to fail, but her heart was luminous, and she learned to let go of everything, her reputation, her control, even her need to feel close to God. She said, the closer one draws to God, the simpler everything becomes.
Mm.
So when you're feeling like life is not simple, what are the chances you're not close to God? That's it. Keep that in your back pocket. That's one of those you can pull out when the really tough times come along and realize, okay, all I got to do is open up and get back into my interior room here and get connected again. And aging asks the same of us to release what's no longer needed, to forgive ourselves and others, and to make peace with the mystery of not knowing. You're not going to know everything. And perhaps that's the true miracle that the soul grows young when it stops clinging, stops needing to control, stops needing to know everything. In her final days, Teresa was frail, often in pain, and still traveling actually to support her reform work. And when she finally rested, her last words were simple. She said, my Lord, it is time to move on.
Mm.
Well then, may your will be done.
Wow.
Doesn't it give you the shibbies?
Yes, it
It
does. Yes, it does.
does. Her prayer book carried the words that many of us know, the one that I said earlier, let nothing disturb you, let nothing make you afraid. All things are passing. God alone never changes. That's her legacy.
That's an
Not
incredible
perfection.
legacy. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Not
And
perfection,
to
not
think that
peace,
she
but that
got
is
there
her
on
legacy.
her own without any help or support. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yes. It wasn't about conquest, it was about surrender. And that's what her life showed us.
Mm.
And maybe that's the spiritual maturity, what it really looks like, right? That quiet confidence that in the end all is well and God alone suffices.
Yeah.
So, know that the spiritual aspirants, the biggies that have come before us have come down the same roads that we have, that we're getting to the end and realizing that it's all about love. Always has been.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's just take a moment again to be together with this and just place your hand on your heart and breathe slowly. Close your eyes and imagine walking inward through your own interior castle. With each breath, you move closer to the center, that still, radiant place where love lives. You don't have to earn it, you only have to remember it. Okay, just remember that feeling. Come back. Teresa's life reminds us that aging isn't the unraveling of who we are, it's the revelation of who we always
Really
have,
are. We really are.
who we really are. I love those words. Okay, hope that picked you up. It was good for us.
Pick me up.
Too little sick,
I
too
love
little sick. We feel better now. Thank you for
this.
listening. If it touched you, just please go to YouTube and like us and share and subscribe and all those fancy things so we get more people coming onto the podcast and hearing our messages because that's what we love. That's what we want to do. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear what your challenges are on your spiritual journey. Please comment on
Oh,
the YouTube and we'll answer your questions if you send them to us. So
thank you.
really, okay. Until next time, just remember all things are passing, but love never
Love
ends.
never fades.
Bye, everyone. See you next week. Without a cold.
Without a cold.